You wake up on a cold winter morning. Your alarm is ringing loudly next to your ear. You try to reach over to turn it off, but you literally cannot move your arm. Your blood feels as thick as syrup. Your muscles are completely locked, and your heart is barely beating. You aren't sick, and you aren't paralyzed. Humanity has simply become cold-blooded. Welcome to a reality where your body temperature is controlled entirely by the environment. In our reality, human beings are endothermic, which means we are warm-blooded. You have an internal furnace that constantly burns energy to keep your body at a perfect 37 degrees Celsius. This allows you to survive in the snow, run at night, and think clearly in the freezing rain. But if we were ectothermic, like snakes and lizards, everything would change. We would lose the ability to generate our own body heat. To survive, human society would have to drastically redesign how it functions. First, the design of our cities would look incredibly strange. Sunbathing would no longer be a relaxing vacation activity. It would be a mandatory biological requirement just to digest your food and start your day. Corporate offices would have to implement basking breaks. Instead of a coffee break, employees would lie under massive industrial heat lamps just to get enough energy to type on a keyboard. But the biggest shockwave would hit the global economy. That internal furnace you have right now is incredibly expensive to run. It is the reason you have to eat 3 meals every single day. Cold-blooded animals are incredibly energy efficient. A cold-blooded human would only need to eat about 1/10 of the food we consume today. You might eat one large meal, like a heavy steak, and not feel hungry again for 3 weeks. As a result, the global agricultural and restaurant industries would completely collapse. Supermarkets would become tiny, empty buildings. Millions of farmers, truck drivers, and chefs would lose their jobs overnight. Unfortunately, this grocery savings would come with a terrifying trade-off. Heat would literally become the new currency.
Countries near the equator, where it is always hot, would become the richest superpowers on Earth. Living in northern places like Canada, Russia, or Scandinavia would become a brutal dystopian nightmare. During the winter, heat in your home wouldn't just be about comfort, it would be the only thing keeping you from a coma. If you could not afford to pay your heating bill, you wouldn't just wear a jacket, your body would involuntarily shut down, entering a state of torpor, a deep hibernation. Poor families would have to crowd into tiny, government-funded warming centers just to stay awake. And if the power grid failed during a winter storm, entire cities would freeze to death in their sleep. And even if you survived the winter, everyday life would be severely restricted. The concept of nightlife would be entirely erased. When the sun goes down and the temperature drops, your muscles would physically stiffen. Running away from danger in the dark would be biologically impossible. Curfews wouldn't be enforced by the police, they would be enforced by your own body. You would be a prisoner to the sun. It proves that being warm-blooded is not a burden. Yes, you have to constantly eat food to keep the engine running, but that food is the price you pay for freedom. The freedom to walk in the snow, the freedom to dance in the middle of the night, and the freedom to know that your life isn't controlled by the thermostat.